Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and today this is sort of a mishmash of subjects in the video because I didn't feel like starting a major project of any kind. I had other things to do, that would have interfered anyway, such as today I finally got around to fixing all the bad rollers in the Samsung dryer. Now it's running quiet as a Cadillac, It's amazing what you can do with a few rollers. I found the one that was making the big rumbling noise. It was, the thing was flip-flopping all over. Bearing was gone totally. I guess probably that's the one that always dies. I don't know. I haven't ever opened up anybody else's Samsung. And I've noticed a few things, and you can't help it if you're, get real old. And I remember back when I was a young guy, probably 22 or 23, somewhere in there, working in an evil polluting plastics company. Well, not exactly plastics, it was a chemical company. They made all kind of stuff, including dishwasher soap. But anyway, back then operators worked 8-hour days, 40-hour weeks, which is, had been a tradition for a long time. Well, you would work 5 days in one week and 2 days in another week. In other words, you worked 7 days on night shift, 7 days on the graveyard shift. Well, I say night shift. Evening shift, 7 days. Graveyard shift, you worked 7 days. Day shift, you worked 6, because if you'd worked any more, you'd have a day of overtime in there. And the way they did that is they had a guy they called the shift breaker. And he would come in on Monday and work job, say A, and then Tuesday he'd work job B, and Wednesday he'd work job C, and so on. And the guys on those jobs, they would have an odd day off right in the middle of their day shift, And it was great. I liked to have time off and all that. But this old guy that was on the particular unit I was on there, it was well known as a lazy and no-account deadbeat. And those are some of the nicer things that people said about him when they'd come in on the evening shift and relieve him. Because he never did any of the work. He didn't take the readings. You'd come in and find yourself with a product tank about to run over, or additive tanks about to run dry, or pumps that didn't have any oil in them, or any one of a dozen things, or the lab asking, "Where's our samples?" And so, due to that kind of habit that he had, and he had that habit for a number of years, people kind of were down on him a little bit, and they would cuss him thoroughly and referred to him as an old deadbeat. Let me change the camera angle a little bit. I can see that I'm not getting all my handsome visage on here. Alright, anyway, so one day this guy retires. Yeah, and the day after he had left, said, "Oh, well, Fred, he was a good old boy, hate to see him go." And this other guy said, "Yeah, I had a good time with this and that." And after a little bit, I couldn't take it no more, and I said, "Hold it. You guys are a bunch of dang hypocrites." I said, "Here for the last year, you've been cussing this guy every day that you was on days, or when you was on evenings, having to relieve him because he didn't do any work." I said, "Now he's gone and retired, and suddenly he's a good old boy." I said, "Either you was lying then or you're lying now." It's funny how people are about people like that. You can retire or die or whatever, and suddenly they quit cussing you and start praising you. Doesn't do you much good. You're going to be gone anyway. Alright, so there's another thing. I did a video where I modified my Harbor Freight arbor press so that I could quickly readjust the handle to a comfortable position that I could work with. And for some reason, it's got a lot of comment from some people that feel like I should disassemble it every time when I want to move the handle. And they seem to be kind of passionate about it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do a video here where I demonstrate both ways of doing it and see if we can come to some kind of an agreement on this thing. Probably not, but I'm going to try it both ways, my way and their way. Hang on, and we'll move the camera. You saw it on AVE, and now you see it here. connecting rod bottle cap opener, which is going to become something else. It's going to be in the end most likely an aluminum bottle cap opener, unless I come across some aluminium. Now the STL file that you print this thing from gives you that. Actually, it's oriented kind of like that towards the end of the printer. And I thought, well, you print one, then you have to know when it quit and go back and restart it and stuff. So I did this. I edited the STL file so it would print 2 at a time like that. Probably would have been just as well to have made it print 4. But I figured that was good enough, you know, as it was. And then I thought, well, mostly I'm doing exercises to teach myself how to do things. So I'll show you what else I did. Now this is the original Mr. Pete band sander or whatever, belt sander roller from the file. And I decided, what if I didn't want a 1-inch belt sander? What if I wanted a 2-inch belt sander? So I modified that to give me a 2-incher. And so far so good. Like I say, most of the stuff I'm doing just to teach myself how to do things, you know. And I get a pile of, I guess, junk waiting for me to cast something. But I can't do that right now. It's raining, and like I'm probably going to need an arc if it doesn't quit. If I want it to be a valid pattern, I'll need 2 halves. There's the other one. Alright, now we're going to pretend that this is something that needs to be pushed together, pressed together here. Alright? And I'm going to pick up the handle, and the darn handle is straight up and down here. Let me see if I can back the thing off. See, whoa, that's not the right direction. Back off the other direction. There. So the handle is straight up and down there. And suppose this were something that were about to fall apart. I'm holding everything in alignment with my hand here. I don't want it to fall or anything like that. But I want to get a better handle angle. So what am I going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my handle and I'm going to crank that up, come back around, and look here. All I had to do was just back the handle up, come back around, and now I'm in a very comfortable position here for pushing down on it. Let's do that again just in case you missed it. Hang on, I'll set it up. Well, I can set it up bad, just the same way I set it up right. I think I can. There. Alright, so here we are. I got this stuff I've got to press together here. The handle's straight up and down. Inconvenient, uncomfortable, and probably even a dangerous angle to be at, right? So what do? I take this thing and I back it around, 2 little notches. There we are. I've got a downward push on it. If I don't want it to be downward, I can go back. An easier pull angle. What I want to do is go back. Every time I move it, I come to a nice, comfortable angle instead of having it stick it straight up and down. Instead of being straight up and down like this, I've come back to a comfortable handle. Now, what people want me to do, I'll show you what they want me to do. They want me to get this collar off of here. Let me see here. We need an Allen wrench. I'm sure it's metric, and I'm sure it's a lot smaller than that. Probably this guy here. So what we're going to do, we're going to come around and we're going to take the collar off. I dropped it like I always do everything. And then we're going to pull this thing out of there. We're going to come back around here, reset it where we want it. I'm going to put the collar back on because I'm not pressing on this thing without a collar on it. if it comes flying out of there, if it's hard to push and it comes flying out of there, I'm the guy that's going to get hurt. I never liked that sort of thing. I don't like getting hurt. And now I've got a position. If I don't like that position, I can go back, remove the collar, pull this guy out, readjust him, put the collar back on, and we've got a more comfortable position. It looks to me like that's an awful lot of trouble to go to just to get the thing in the right position, and eventually you're bound to mess up your collar or the set screw or something, or have it fall apart. I can't do it with one hand and hold this thing together. This is something I've got to come over here and grab the collar and unscrew it. You've got to pull this guy out. You've got to make sure this guy doesn't fall. I don't see why people think it's more convenient than just coming up and letting it reset one tooth. That looks so easy to me. Come up, reset one tooth. Why isn't that better? I don't know. I guess it's all in how you look at it, or maybe you always did it the other way and you feel kind of upset that you didn't think of this instead of something else. And I didn't think of this. I copied another guy. In fact, I looked on YouTube, and there's a whole lot of other guys that do it like this. So, I don't know. And in another subject, I've got this guy here. This is a lead shine stepper motor controller. And yep, the reason I got a brand new lead shine stepper motor controller is I let the magic smoke out of the one I put on the mill the other day. I wasn't even moving the spindle. I had gone around to the other side, had loosened the bolts that hold the head, went around to the other side, flipped on the wiper motor to lift the head up, and when I did that, this guy smoked. Not sure why. Now this guy, the stepper motor, he was on a particular power regulator, positive negative ground of that power regulator. The wiper motor was on the positive negative ground on a different power regulator, and so on. And I noticed when I would flip the wiper motor on, the LED light would blink, you know, like suck down all the juice for a moment there. And indeed, that was when the darn stepper controller burned up when I did that. So I went and I tied all the grounds together, and I went back and hit the wiper motor, and it still made the LED lights dim, you know, blink momentarily. And of course, it was too late for the stepper controller because it was already burned out. So I guess we can go over there and demonstrate some of that. I hope I'm not going to demonstrate burning up the lead shine stepper motor controller. Okay, these are the terminals that I ordered for the spindle job over there, so I could hook all the power regulators onto the 48-volt power supply. They finally came in. I normally try to order from inside the country when I need something now, and I goofed up and ordered this thing, and I didn't know until they sent me the "it's going to ship" notice that it was coming from China. So I had to go down to, you know, Home Depot and buy a lesser terminal to do the job with, you know. But at least it arrived today, and the next time I need it, I've got some really nice terminals. A little late, but you know, better late than never, I guess. Now this HMI, he doesn't blink or anything when I turn on the wiper motor to lift the head, but sometimes when I power the thing up, he will come up reversed and in blue. Let me turn it off, turn it back on, see if it'll happen. There you are. You see that? It's backwards and it's in blue. I don't know why that happens. Unplug it and we're back to normal. I may have to buddy up to an electrical engineer or something get some kind of an idea as to what the heck am I doing wrong, you know. It seemed like a good thing when I set it up and it worked, but now now it's kind of different. All right, let's move the camera again. There's the let me back the wrong way. I keep backing off the wrong direction. All right, so we've got the wiper motor back there ready to lift the head. I'm going to have to go around and unbolt the head so I can move it. Alright, I lowered the camera some so you guys can see the light here and all that. Now I've got the head on here loose, and I'm going to hit the switch on the motor here to lift it up or let it down. I never remember which way it's going to go. You see that blink of light? I'm not sure why it pulls so much juice like that. This is on, I've got it on a 12 volt regulator. The stepper motor's on a 48 volt, and that seems to have crashed my HMI. If you look over here, it's crashed it. So I'm not sure. I guess I may have to separate all the grounds again, but I mean, it did that same way when the grounds were separated. Maybe I'm going to have to use separate power supplies for everything. I had figured this is a 30 amp 48 volt power supply. I thought it could handle it, you know. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to wait until I find out a little bit more before I put this brand new lead shine stepper motor controller on there, because I don't want to burn him up just right off. It looks like it's a better unit than the other one, but who knows. I guess at this point I have to decide whether I'm going to waste a Bubba joke on a crummy little video like this or not. I forgot to mention one thing. On the 15th of this very month, Mr. Pete 222, also known as Tubal Kane, and sometimes known as Lyle Peterson, is having a meet and greet at his place in Illinois, and I'm going to go up there and meet Mr. Pete. And whatever I've done here, this is the first time I ever did it. I ordinarily went over to Mr. Pete's channel to find out how before I launched off into it. So, you know, I'm sure he has had that same influence on thousands of other people, you know. And getting an opportunity to go and meet him, it's looks to me like a good idea, and I'm going. And I know Randy Richards is going to be there, and I've never met him either. You know, I'm getting 2 for 1. All right? See you guys later. Bubba and Cooter was out in the rowboat fishing out on the lake, you know. Bubba turned around to Cooter and he says, you know, he says, I reckon's how I'm going to just divorce my wife. Cooter says, divorce her? He says, what for? Bubba says, well, he says, she's out every night looking at every beer joint in town. Cooter says, I see, you know. And he sat there a minute fishing, just spit his chewing tobacco over the side. As you know, Bubba, he says, divorce is a pretty serious thing there. He says, just what's she looking at all those beer joints for? Bubba says, oh, well, she's looking for me. Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.